Now, back to Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on CL 650.
I'm on top of the world.
Welcome back to the Best of Food and Wine. Arthur, the actual real time is just after 8 o'clock. In less than 55 minutes, we'll be closing the competition. Not the competition, the giveaway.
Yeah, we've been talking about this the last 3 nights. We are giving away an amazing 2-night stay at the Painted Boat Resort Spa and Marina on the Sunshine Coast. Free ferry passes, a deluxe breakfast basket, and of course your favorite, the couple's massage.
The couple's massage.
Which is a prize in itself.
Yeah.
So head down here before 9 o'clock. Put your name in the bucket, in our little fish bowl. We will draw the name in less than an hour.
Okay, perfect. Our guest is Ingo Grady. He's here to talk to us about a very special project that's unfolding in the Okanagan, a winery called CheckMate, which is down in the new Golden Mile sub-appellation, which is great. And it's a winery making, is it 5 Chardonnays?
5 Chardonnays.
Which is beyond belief, really, in some ways. You'd have to be nuts to open a winery and sell 5 Chardonnays. If you weren't Anthony.
Well, these wines wanted to be made.
Yeah.
So when you we brought in Phil McGaughan from William Salium, and he studied the vineyards.
Yeah.
And he tasted the fruit, and he decided that there were 3 single vineyards that he wanted to make. Of course, a winemaker wants to make a blend.
Sure, of course.
And then the 5th wine, Attack, is different for a different reason. We'll get to it.
Okay, so you brought one of the 5 wines along, which, by the way, is in I can only describe it sort of as an antique.
Oh, it's a fabulous bottle.
Well, we're referring to CheckMate as an artisanal winery. I think the bottle emulates that nomenclature, and the wines are made in about as not an interventionist way that I can imagine. 50% wild yeast fermented. We basically split the free run juice into a barrel that's inoculated and a barrel that is not.
Yeah.
We do full malolactic on these wines. We don't rack them for 17 to 18 months. We do some lees steering. We get complete integration of the yeast autolysis, what it contributes to the wines,
right,
but also the oak.
And hand-picked?
Hand-picked at night at cool temperatures. So the wines come in at the right temperature for starting the fermentations. They're kept in barrels at between 3 and 5 degrees Celsius, so very cold. The only time we rack them off their lees is when we bottle, and the wines are bottled unfined and unfiltered. So what as natural as you can be. Like as I said before, patience is a great character trait that Phil has, and in his first vintage, he's made magnificent wines. This is not a salesperson speaking. Everyone who's had the opportunity to taste the wines is blown away by them, whether it's a novice or educated palates. Some of the best restaurants in Vancouver, in the Okanagan, at the Wickeninish,
yes,
and in Whistler are supporting the wines.
There's not that many barrels.
In total, just over 50 barrels were made between 5 different wines. So Queen Taken, we made 9 barrels. So each barrel has 300 bottles. The wines are severely allocated. I manage the wines going to the best restaurants. And then consumers, people interested in acquiring the wines, can simply go on the website, checkmatewinery.com. We invite people to register for an allocation. The next step is very simple. You create your own password, which allows us to assign your credit card to a third party, and the rest is really up to you. There are 3 gift sets available, a 3-bottle beautiful carton of each of the single vineyards. There's a 5-bottle box of 1 bottle of each of the 5. And if you want to mix it up, just get a hold of me. I'm the only person on the CheckMate website that answers your mail.
Wow.
It's very hands-on, very limited, very exclusive, small lots by the same nature as, there's not a lot of these wines. But I'm excited with the early response at these prices, but the wines are compelling.
Okay. Let's get to the price because as we taste the wine, this is a $125 Chardonnay.
Yep.
Out of British Columbia.
Outrageous, right?
Yeah. Do you sleep at night when you think about, at least before, when you thought, well, I got to sell this wine?
I think he thinks it's too reasonably priced.
I've had that comment, but I'm not the kind of person like you and I. We're not generally making a habit of drinking a $100 wine. But for the same reason that people are driving beautiful cars and living in expensive homes, the way these wines are grown and the way these wines are vinified, and as how special as these wines are, and why would we not? You know, there's an underlying issue in the Okanagan in that for the first time, the average price for a bottle of VQA wine has dropped below $18 a bottle.
Yeah.
Making wine in the Okanagan is not a race to the bottom. Vineyards in the Okanagan are not an agricultural commodity. You know, Canada is good at that.
Yes.
But we're not growing wheat here. We're not growing apples. You know, for us, the agricultural product can only be luxury. It's added value. And if the quality is comparable, I'll challenge anyone to enjoy this wine in the company of any great white Burgundy for which you pay 2 and 3 times.
Yes.
So if the wines are of equivalent or even greater quality, why should they not be worth, especially when they're available only in limited quantities and are very carefully controlled as to where the wines go.
It's interesting, this wine. I had this wine, obviously, I don't know, it's about 8 months now, I guess, from the last time I tasted it. Maybe not quite 8. It's a little fruitier now than it was. It seems to be, you know, expressing the fruit a little more than at the time.
There's a definite, I love what's happening to this wine. Yeah, it's rich. I think the way it's made, there's a textural element here that, but it's not overbearing.
No, not at all. It's still, it is a bit more, but it's more next world. It's new world, term. Next world, not old world. It was more old world 6 months ago. I don't know how it's going to come through, but I love that the wine's developing in the bottle too. I don't think you'll have any problem selling it anyways.
Nope.
Well, you're probably already doing well, but.
And when can you drink it? If you buy, if you purchase it, should you wait?
Well, you could,
year or two.
Oh, sure, you could easily wait, but it's delicious right now.
The way the wines are made, they have many years. They would. I'm not saying they're going to age like a white Burgundy because it's a different wine. It's a different acidity.
But this is a 7-year wine minimum. I can tell right out of the gate that it's going to be it's going to improve in that bottle for 5 to 7 years, no problem.
Yeah. And as you know, we have a rich culinary tradition at Mission Hill. So when I show these 5 wines to our chefs, you know, Chardonnay is so versatile. You can cook. You know, Patty and I will do truffled popcorn with Parmesan. You know, you can do sashimi. You can do anything with potatoes, with cream, with butter. Incredibly versatile.
Can I just have a little lobster with it? Or?
Yeah. I think I want to dip the lobster, not in the butter, right into the wine.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is Golden Mile. This has captured the fruit. So the Golden Mile fruit is picked 3 weeks after the fruit from Black Sage Bench or from the Osoyoos Bench.
Yeah.
Because you only get the morning sun.
Yeah.
So it's a much more gradual. I picked this wine because I think you liked it to begin with.
Yeah, I
love the fact that it's changing.
Yep.
It definitely has personality. And it's sexy.
It's
Can I say the wine is sexy, Casey?
Yes,
yeah,
very sexy.
But it's elegant too. It's got so much going on for it. But I think what's really great is a message for everybody in the Okanagan that, strive for the top. As you say, it's not a race to the bottom. It's been a race to the bottom in liquor stores in the last year or two, and it's probably going to get worse as time goes on. It's pretty amazing how the BC producers have extracted themselves from the liquor store as the liquor store has been racing to the bottom, selling, really inexpensive wine. So it's great to see this. Maybe this will even pique their interest about the way that they look at the market. You don't have to say anything,
I don't hold
Ingo.
my breath for them to change their policy.
Yeah.
They've asked about these wines, but these wines will only ever be available via the website. There is no cellar door traffic unless you get a hold of me and I can
to
make
be clear, I was, at the start I thought maybe it was a club or something. You can just sign up on the website and then you have a choice to grab whatever you like in 3s or 5s.
Yes, and we ship anywhere in Canada.
And how much can you buy? Can you buy a case?
Look at his face. You can buy whatever you want, man.
Okay.
Well, it's not if I can
that much wine.
If I can call Anthony the 1st of May and to tell him we're sold out within 2 months of launching the wines,
he'll be happy.
Honestly, I fought hard for some key restaurant placements, and I've guaranteed the allocation. So I'm basically the keeper of the wines, but we make a vintage every year, and I don't want this to be super elitist. I want this is a game changer for Okanagan wines, and I'm so proud of them.
We're almost done, man. I just want to mention thanks for bringing the glass. Unless I'm losing it, shot Zwiesel, it's beautiful wine glass.
No, well, this glass is as exclusive as the CheckMate wines.
Okay.
It's the Gabriel glass.
Oh,
These are mouth blown in one piece. in Slovakia. Rene Gabriel is your counterpart in the German-speaking wine world.
Sure.
To make
I'm not making glasses.
To make 6,000 of these takes 3 shifts, 3 days, and they break 6,000.
Wow. Oh my God! How much?
We have
how much is this glass?
Considering that, they're not. No, they're $90 for 2 of these. They're a game changer because they're the all-purpose glass. We use them at Martin's Lane for Riesling and Pinot. CheckMate exclusive. Again, once I've got the website going for CheckMate, I'll put the Gabriel glasses on. They're remarkable. And everywhere we do, March 23rd, first CheckMate dinner, Blue Water Cafe. Frank Pops, we only have 20 seats. Frank's doing a custom menu for all 5 wines, and he's one of the most creative, most amazing chefs in the city. March 23rd, Blue Water.
Ingo Grady, Director of Wine Education, talking to us today about CheckMate Winery. Thanks so much for the wine. Queen Taken?
Queen Taken.
Yeah.
How much was it?
$125. Not bad.
Rock and roll.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Casey, Tony.
Thank you.
There you go, folks. British Columbia Wine stepping up. You're listening to the Best of Food and Wine. We're still live on location at the 2016 Vancouver International Wine Festival. If my watch is right, we've got about 45 minutes left. Just near the end of the show, we're actually going to announce who the theme country is next year, and we're going to give away a great prize for the painted boat. I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Casey Wilson.
We'll be right back.
3 things you need to do at the 2016 Vancouver International Wine Festival. 1. Visit the theme region of Italy. 2. Visit the Best of Food and Wine stage inside the theme region. And 3. Enter to win a deluxe 2-night stay in a waterfront villa at Painted Boat Resort Spa and Marina on the Sunshine Coast. Winner announced 9 p.m. Saturday. Italian is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with CIL 650. Now, back to Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on Smooth and Easy. CIL 650.
I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and I know it.
Welcome back to the Best of Food and Wine. I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Casey Wilson.
Our next guest is sexy and he knows it.
No, we're talking wine. I'm well beyond sexy.
Ingo Grady, Director of Wine Education. You may know him for many years from Mission Hill Winery, and you're still there, but we're going to talk about a new project today, CheckMate. Pretty slick.
Put me down as an early skeptic and a complete believer. I mean, we started this 4 years ago. Anthony started this 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I want to just clearly separate CheckMate from Mission Hill, although its origins are closely linked to
same owner,
to when things got interesting in the Okanagan with the 92 Chardonnay.
Yeah.
For perspective. But Anthony is a gentleman who never stops in one place. So he's driving, he's driven John Symes for 24 vintages.
Yep.
I'm almost at that cumulatively.
I was going to ask you how long you've been there.
Well, I was with Anthony in 81 for a few years, and then the last 16 years.
Wow.
So in a way of observing how far the Okanagan has come in a relatively in one generation.
Yes.
And I think CheckMate represents the pinnacle of the moment. And if I may, Tony, you were an early observer of CheckMate. You've been to the winery with Phil McGaughan, the winemaker.
Yeah.
You wrote one line that gives me goosebumps because you compared the Chardonnays not to Old World or New World, you called them Next World.
Next World, yeah.
And that is what excites me, that the Okanagan cannot get to where we want it to be without having wineries with vintners, with viticulturists who think forward, who push the envelope, and CheckMate certainly does in many ways.
Yeah. And, well, it's so appropriate you say that at a wine festival where Italy is the theme. And I just came out of a Legends tasting, which was incredible, where, and you well know, the great sort of marker wines, Barolo and Tuscany and Amarone. But, they sort of, I was saying in the tasting that they held the ground while they were being surrounded by all these indigenous varieties now that people are celebrating. And everybody in Italy has gone back to their little village and their little piece of dirt, and they're trying to do something. Even the Lambrusco that maybe, as I said, you and I probably would never look twice at, 15 years ago, is now doing well. And this is this infectious kind of philosophy is finally coming to the Okanagan, which is so refreshing.
Well, there's a pioneer spirit, and I think Marchese Piero Antonori has always maintained that you need to respect where you've come from.
Yeah.
Look at your heritage, but also strive for innovation.
Yes.
And both can happen at the same time. The classic tension in Europe, whether it's in Rioja or in Tuscany, is modernist versus traditional, and the best wines are probably somewhere in between. Now, with climate change being a reality, adaptation is key, because the classic wines from the classic regions no longer taste like they did 20 years ago. There's change in the air. When I saw Angelo Gaia speak at the New York Wine Experience last October, the first words out of his mouth were climate change. He enlists 9 different viticultural consultants, he says, because not one of them has all the answers. But he says, between the 9 of them, I think and Anthony thinks the same way. You know, if there's someone in the world that can help us make better wine in the Okanagan, he's likely working for us or involved with us in some way.
Well, there's one guy who's going to make better wine in the Okanagan, and he's not working for you. And good luck trying to get him. I think he's the big guy up there who's kind of warming up the Okanagan.
You're talking climate change,
It's kind of fun to think about a region that was, you know, sort of chasing Napa, and now while Napa's cooking, we are kind of settling in into a nice range of temperatures that make a lot of things possible.
Well, there's really sound science to this. We've been working with Dr. Gregory Jones, the leading climatologist in the world. In fact, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, contributing to the 2008. And he talks about climate envelopes. Right grape, right place, where Chardonnay sweet spot was somewhere near Carneros, not even Napa Valley floor. And we think that sweet spot has moved 800 miles north. These
I do too.
Climate envelopes are usually a 2.5 degree, and in terms of climate, a change of 1.5 degrees Celsius in a growing season is significant, is earth-shakingly profound in terms of the kind of wines you can make.
And where is he from?
He's a professor at the Southern Oregon University, Dr. Gregory Jones. He's been up here twice speaking to viticulturists, winemakers in the Okanagan, and he's closely linked to the CheckMate project because we think we can make Chardonnays that are uniquely different from the run-of-the-mill Napa Valley Chardonnays, where climate change is compromising the natural assets that we come by so easily in the Okanagan. You know, profound, like prominent diurnal swings, especially in September when it really matters.
Our guest is Ingo Grady, and today we're going to talk about really a new project in the Okanagan that's coming out. Well, it's out, but CheckMate Winery. We know so much. We're kind of insiders. Let's go back to the beginning. So, where is CheckMate? What is CheckMate? Before we even get to the wines, let's let our listeners in on CheckMate.
We talked about legacy and innovation looking forward. CheckMate is really the realization of something that started long before Anthony was even in the Okanagan. Josephine de Claver and her husband planted a vineyard on what is now the Golden Mile sub-appellation 41 years ago. Olivier Combre was not far behind. Long story short, we were able to purchase not only Olivier's property on the Golden Mile bench, but a year later, Josephine's 25-acre Chardonnay vineyard planted to a clone. We call it the de Claver clone to honor the family. It's a heritage clone of no known provenance. It's not Wente, it's not a Dijon clone. There's a mystery surrounding it, but the quality of the wines have a pronounced
it's a Mendoza
aromatic.
Clone, no.
Well, it's quite musqué, it's quite aromatic, so it could be.
We don't know.
We don't know, and it's kind of nice to. Wine is like that. You don't have to figure out everything.
No.
Enjoy the glass. And wherever I've been with the CheckMate wines, even people that want to hate them come around and fall in love with the wines.
Why do people want to hate them? I don't understand that.
Well, the price point for starters. When I came in with 5 Chardonnays priced between $85 and $125 a bottle. Now, is that a game changer for the Okanagan? I've got some other colleagues in the valley saying, "Are you nuts?" Others are saying, "Thank you." Don Trick said, "Well, the rising tide."
Yes, that's
so,
right.
And why wouldn't the best Chardonnay in the Okanagan be compared to Lewin Estate Artist Series, Hamilton Russell, Pouligny Montrachet?
which do not sell for 50 US.
No, and they're on wine lists for $300-400.
Yeah.
And I think the way we make these wines, the selection that's involved, the almost, non-interventionist winemaking that is Phil's style, the patient approach.
Yeah.
This is a project 4 years in the making, but really it started with the De Claver clone that was the foundation of Mission Hill's John Symes 92 Reserve Chardonnay that won the Avery Trophy in London. The same clone was involved in making Perpetua in 2006. To that point, the best Chardonnay in the Okanagan, maybe in Canada. And CheckMate is just the evolution of that process. So for perspective, there's 40 years of Okanagan viticulture in these wines.
Careful now, I still like Perpetua too. But yeah, it's and CheckMate is we could say it's a Chardonnay project. I know there might be some other wines.
There might be a Merlot in our back pocket, but really for now the focus is on Chardonnay. 5 different Chardonnays, 3 single vineyards, an assemblage of those 3, and then Attack. I only brought one wine today, Queen Taken, which is the home vineyard, the old De Claver side on the Golden Mile bench.
So, and we're going to get to this wine, believe me, listeners. Hang on, all good things in time. Let's talk a bit about the winemaker. Because it's never easy to find somebody. First, it's never easy to find a top quality winemaker, and then to get him to come to the Okanagan is also another trick. Anthony's pretty good at that. He got Symes.
He got Symes 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, the Okanagan for a top-end chef or winemaker or viticulturist with a family is extremely attractive.
Yes, it is.
The fact that we speak English there helps.
Yes.
And I think the fact that a winemaker from down under can actually come and visit in between seasons without necessarily being caught by his employer. So the recruitment down under, and let's keep in mind, these are some of the best trained winemakers in the world, whether they're from New Zealand or from Australia. But Phil McGaughan, in a way, we talk climate change, but talking about the weather is boring. But as the canary in the coal mine, viticulture, he started as an attorney in Brisbane. He then switched trades, became a winemaker in the Hunter. He then worked at William Cillian in Sonoma's Russian River, making amazing Pinots and Chardonnays. But Sonoma fruit can be severely compromised by botrytis, the high humidity, the hot growing season. So he answered the call when Anthony and Nick Goldschmidt actually found him for us. Nick.
Sure.
So Phil McGaughan is the gentleman we're talking about. And once we had the vineyard in place and the 40-year-old vines, we bought Combre. We had a winery that 1 or 2 people can run. It's that efficient. We went after Phil, and we gave him lots of time. We scrapped the 2012 vintage, which Phil did not make. The wine here is from the 2013 vintage. 5 wines were made by Phil. And many attributes I could use to describe Phil. Patience would be the prominent one. I mean, he's got the craft down.
He's a bit egoless too, which I like.
Oh, what a modest guy. I wish he was here. But CheckMate is not officially in the festival. Don't tell anybody.
So, CheckMate, the name CheckMate, how did that all come about? And it's a pretty cool name when you think about it.
It is.
There's 2 explanations. Anthony's son
Everybody plays chess all day long up on the hill, or what?
Well, you can... Phil has a different take on it. Anthony's son, Sebastian's been playing chess on his iPad since he was 4. But in many ways, if you look at winemaking and playing chess, both involve a series of very deliberate, carefully considered moves, options, strategy. And when I look from CheckMate's location on the Golden Mile, I can see the vineyard on the Black Sage Bench. I can see Osoyo's Lake. So that mosaic of vineyards all over to Osoyo's looks a bit like a chessboard. Now, down there we farm close to 90 acres of Chardonnay in 10 different sites. Phil picked 3 sites to make 5 wines from a total of 7 acres. I did the math. That's roughly 50 barrels in the first vintage. So we're talking micro blocks, extreme selection in the vineyard. There's a rumor going around in the Okanagan that Phil's insistence on the farming of his blocks be done in a certain way may have led to John Symes
Leaving.
Not leaving, but retiring from winemaking. I'm
Really?
kidding.
Which is pretty hard. Which is pretty hard to believe.
No. So
Given
after
what
20
a hard-ass John could be.
Well, I know you had Daryl Brooker on. So Daryl, we've
Yeah.
had the smoothest transition you can have in a winery.
Yeah.
From John Symes to Daryl Brooker. So today, John is in charge of Sebastian Farms,
Yep.
all the vineyard holdings that Anthony has in the valley. And really, John is the decider for winemakers, CheckMate, Mission Hill, Cedar Creek, and Martin's Lane competing for best and highest use.
Yeah.
So it's a very dynamic, but also very friendly and collegial dynamic that is going
Right.
on in the Okanagan.
Ingo, we're going to take a quick break. We're talking about a really special new wine coming out of the Okanagan, CheckMate. And when we come back from the break, we're going to taste one of the wines, Queen Taken, which is a great name, too, of course, along the chess theme. You're listening to The Best of Food and Wine. We're coming to you live from the floor of the Vancouver International Wine Festival. It's 2016. There are 155 wineries. Italy is the theme. It's the last night. The place is packed.
Party night, Tony.
I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Casey
We'll
Wilson.
be right back.
This is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on CL 650.